So here we are for Training Tip Tuesday, and this is Kathleen Bertuna on our mutual friend Dr. Jennifer Achilles' horse, Excel Star Solstice, and this is his first cross-country school in Aiken. So what we like to do is just start off real slow, and we start off just by trotting a very small log back and forth a couple of times to get the horses confident, to get them feeling good. Kathleen is sitting up really well, her hands are wide, her whip is back in case she needs to tap him, but obviously he's good to go. So now what I've told her to do is, if that went well, is we're going to canter the little log, and then we're going to canter, there's a little flat sort of coop with a log on it right in front of it. So we're going to do that. And the idea is little and often. You want to do that with all of your horses. So little jumps, like in terms of do a few jumps, but do them often, you know, so that your horse gets brave. Very good. So to introduce your horse to water, what we want to do is we want to have a more experienced horse. Elena is here schooling her nice horse with us, and we're just going to have Solstice follow her into the water. What a good boy, right? And young horses may leap in, they may go in tentatively. You just want to go with them regardless, and maybe have a neck strap so you can tuck a finger in. Just come back, ladies. If you have two horses, I like to have one in the front and one in the back to sort of create a channel for the horses. Horses like to follow other horses. If you get into trouble, sometimes what can happen is you can have the horse in the lead go next to the horse that needs to come in and just help them by taking a hold of their rein and sort of encouraging them. If that doesn't work, hopefully the ground person has a pair of dewberries or rubber boots on, and that horse can go ahead and that person can help get the horse in. You just don't want to make it a big deal. Again, often and frequently. So let's have him just walk in by himself. Okay. So you can see he's pretty relaxed. And so now we're just going to have him walk in by himself. But Elena's going to be at the ready in case she needs to sort of slide past him. And that's another thing you can do, is if you've got a horse that's a little tentative, you can have the leader just be behind them 4 or 5 strides. And so the first time they go in, if the young horse gets nervous at the edge, go ahead and trot back now. Then the more experienced horse can just come past the young horse and sort of just pick them up. Horses like to follow. They're social creatures. So if you have a friend with them, you can use that friend to your advantage. The same thing is true of banks and ditches. If you need a lead, take it. Okay? So that was super. So now we've done little odds and ends, and now we're going to just put a course together. So we started off with a small coop. She's keeping a nice pace and a nice rhythm. I don't try to rush them off their feet. Really good jump there. So I would have gone around that so she had a straighter shot. She just missed that, but obviously the horse is real brave. Super ride. Okay, so that went super well. So now we're going to go play with banks. So here we are now with Solstice, and when you're introducing banks, what I like to do is make things real easy and take it slow and trot up them first so they understand the question. Very good. Because at the trot, you can support them a little bit easier, and it's slower so their brain can hopefully think better. So when we go down banks, what I like to do is actually just walk off of them so that the horse learns the hands are wide, the whip is back, the shoulders are back, So they get there and then they just learn to lower themselves. Go ahead and canter that both directions. Canter up and then trot down. You want to teach your horses that they don't explode off of banks. They just want to basically almost fall off of them, drop themselves off. Because as you go up the levels and things get more complicated, you don't want them to fire off of the bank, because a lot of times what they'll have is a skinny after it, and if you fire off of it, the distance will become a bit of a disaster. So you want them just to be able to drop softly off, as this horse is doing. Super. Okay, so the bank went really well, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to just trot over the stitch. So again, the idea here is that Kathleen is going to come at a trot, nice slow pace, so she can keep things organized. The hands are going to be wide. You can come trot. The hands are going to be wide like her hips, with their hands back a little bit. Carry your hands wide and back a little bit. Yep. Shoulders back so that she can tap him with the whip if she gets there and she needs to do something. Very good job. Good boy. And again, the same thing goes with ditches. You want to just get them to the point where they're just very thoughtfully popping over the ditch, that it isn't any sort of exciting thing. Wide hands, and just because they've jumped it the first time, don't think that they're going to jump it the second time, right? Be prepared, shoulders back, hands wide, and carry your whip. Then we're going to make it more complicated, and we're just going to come canter the ditch. So just come canter that. And again, remember, from the horse's perspective, this changes things a bit, because now you're going faster. Really good job. So we're real lucky here in Aiken that we have several venues that we can cross-country school in. So again, we have the opportunity in Aiken to put a lot of experience on the horses. If you don't have a lot of experience, or if you don't have a lot of facilities, then you obviously have to get a little creative at home. So you can just see that this young horse, as the fences have gotten a little bigger now, it's just a little bit out of his rhythm. And so what we'll do is, she's going to jump a little course here, and then we'll just repeat it to see if his confidence grows. Again, you don't want to overface horse or rider. And you can see he's gaining confidence, so that's real good. So she's going to a new drop here, and so I've told her to take her time and just trot off the drop. So we'll probably spend some time with that, and I actually have a video of me jumping a young horse this morning who wanted to keep jumping off of the drop, and I'm actually going to include that so you can see me riding one of my youngsters. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Very good. So that's a fence that has a little bit of filler on the top. It has a little bit of brush on it, and so the first time a horse jumps that, they'll get real careful. So you just want to make sure that you sit up a little bit. So now she's cantering the ditch, and I'm hoping she brings her shoulders back a little bit. Very good. And then she's just going to jump up. Come on, a little more canter, a little more energy. Very good, and I liked how she added the stride there so that the horse jumped up. You want to treat banks like verticals so that you jump up them, not jump at them. So we're going to start this next horse off, just having him just quietly drop off. Do that again, and this time just ask him to quietly sort of western jog off of it, almost walking. We just want to let him soften and drop off the drop. We don't want him to just be so expressive. We want him to be a little more boring. Little more boring, just quiet. Yes, that's better. Okay, let's start on our next round. So here's Kathleen. So we've dropped him off of the drop, and that's something he's gonna need to do for a little bit. So let's do that again. Okay, so that last time Kathleen sort of overrode him to the distance and got him there deep. And so now she's just gonna give him a little bit of half halt. That's a better ride. That's super, really good. So Kathleen is a true amateur, and she comes and sort of does camp with us. Does a couple competitions, and then does a competition, stays for a week, does another competition with her own Harry. If you have been watching so as I mentioned, I cut the tape because Kathleen went off course. So we all have blonde moments. Anyway, so she's going back because, again, we haven't done a ton with this horse today, and it's certainly not gonna hurt him to go again. So that was good. She got a sort of a not great jump in, but then she rode forward and she got the 5 out. Super. She just lost her way. So take your time when you come through the water so that he's nice and straight. So as I was saying, he's going to need time to figure out his footwork on the drops, and it's just repeating and being quiet, just real slow. And that's what we want him to do. A little more canter, a little bit more put together. It's getting a little tired. Super jump. And if your young horse turns and doesn't get the flying change, just take a trot step or two and get that done. As she's coming to the bank now at the canter, she's just going to sit up and organize, ride it as a vertical. Super, really good. Okay, so now we're going to just show you some bonus footage of Elena. This is working in the bigger field. So this is her nice young horse, and she is going modified. And so now we've moved into the bigger field at the Vista. She's jumped a training roll top. She's coming around to jump. Keep going. Whoa, whoa, steady. Good job. So she jumped a smaller ditch there. Now rebalance here. Good job. Well done. Turn right. And then go to the skinny. So for her, we jumped the ditch to prep her. Good to the chevron. Oh, okay. Oh. So again, she got lost. So now we're going to jump the skinny. Very good. So anyway, so we've done a small ditch, a bigger ditch than before, and then we did the bigger ditch to the skinny. And so now she's going to put it all together. Rebalance. Very well done. So that's a little bit about how we start our young horses. like I said, little and often, so we would probably go back with the Solstice horse in a week to 10 days, maybe to a different facility, because we're so fortunate in Aiken to have different facilities to work out of. We hope you've enjoyed this Training Tip Tuesday and that you're staying safe and healthy. If you have any questions or you'd like to ask any questions, please feel free to do so, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Have a great day.